Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Peter here, and it's time for the PDG Advertising Podcast for Monday, the 20th of May, 2019. How you doing? So today, just before I'm coming on the podcast to uncover a little bit of the magic behind it, we have a wonderful podcast, what would you call her? Director, producer. But I mean, whenever I say wonderful, I mean, she's only okay because she's gone and left me for a week to go on holidays. So no doubt she is sitting with a cocktail or some form of nice refreshing drink in the sunshine while I'm sitting here thinking, who's going to produce this podcast and take out all the uncomfortable silences and all the things that don't make it nice to listen to. So thank you, audio producer, for not being here this week, but I do hope you have a wonderful holiday, and I look forward to you getting back to getting these podcasts to where they need to be whenever you come back. But aside from that, we have today was good. Today was nice. People hate Mondays. I don't. I look forward to Mondays to get in and get working. It's part of doing what you really like to do. And today we had our Monday morning meeting. Myself and Anthony went through the important stuff, and it was good. It was high energy. We went through all the things that we need to do across the week to ensure our pillars of customer growth, brand awareness, and quality of service. Nearly forgot what those were for a second, but that was a great. And what we did in the morning meeting was we talked last week about the strategies and tactics that people employ, and how if you're doing too much tactics and you're not thinking about strategy, then that's a problem. So our overall strategy are those pillars. And there are certain subsections of those that filtered into our morning meeting. And then that's a very strategic side of what we're doing. So I love that. I thought that was a good thing to do this morning, to get some strategic thought in there and then link up the tactics that relate to those strategies. I was working with someone once, a very high up person in the business I was working with. Very, very high up, not the top, but very, very high up globally. And I remember her saying, every single thing you do must be strategic. And I've reflected on that over the last few days. And I'm not sure that was right or true, because there are always tactics and things you do. There is a balance of strategy and tactics. And I think that's what we achieved today. And I think that, well, when I say achieved it, we certainly put it down on paper in order to go forward and achieve it soon. So that was good, getting on paper. And the Monday morning meeting is really important. I think we should probably have one every day, but time is limited. So one on the Monday morning is great. It gets us in sync and helps us to plot out the rest of the week ahead. So that was good. It was a really good start to Monday. So over the weekend, we don't do a podcast, but there's a couple of things that kind of flow into Monday morning. And if you don't get our email address, our email, there was an email sent out at 7 a.m. today, GMT. And if you don't get it, then you can go to the website and sign up for it. And you'll get everything that's happened over the past week, some insights into our world, just like the podcast. We're just sharing in a different medium. But one thing that really stuck out last week, our customer in London, very important customer, as they all are, and as you all are, because I know that some of you listen to this. But this customer has been requesting that we compete with other providers on Google Shopping. I've mentioned them a few times before. And we have been able to dominate a category for this customer on Google Shopping in front of every other provider of Google Shopping. Let me break this down a little bit. So Google Shopping are the adverts that you see whenever you type in, let's say vase or vase, if you say it that way, or motorbike, or it's usually products like chairs and things like that, more homewares. So if you type that in, you'll get a list of shopping results in the top of Google search results. And that's where we're trying to place our adverts. But there's competition. There's always competition, but there's competition here from other people. And something really interesting that happens as well. This particular company has competition from other people who sell their product, who resell our customers' product. So we're actually competing against ourselves a little bit there. But we made that strategic decision is that strategic or tactical? We made that decision to compete in that space, to create that pipeline for our customers so that they knew how to push the button and make sales on those channels. There was a ruling that was made that Google was not allowed to dominate those search results. So there are other providers that provide ads to that. One of them is called RedBrain, and we have been competing with RedBrain on Google. We might go into RedBrain and start working with them as well on this. But at the moment, we are... Wow, just as I'm talking, I know this is a complete distraction. There's a beautiful sky over Belfast right now, and there's a cloud literally in the shape of a turtle. And it looks really, really beautiful. Anyway, back to the podcast. So we were competing with these big names, big company names, big homewares company names, and we have beaten all of them for a certain category. This is big news. This was the company that we gained 333 times ROAS for, and I think that was just scratching the surface. I think if we're able to dominate that category, I reckon that we will be able to dominate every category for this customer. So that is extremely pleasing, and I cannot wait to go in tomorrow and see where we are in terms of the other adverts that we've got running for them. So all our customers for ads, we're kind of addicted to going in and checking on them. I don't know if that's such a good idea. It's definitely a good idea to at least once, and as I said before, we check multiple times per day. But is it like weight? Is it like stepping on the scales every 5 minutes and hoping for something to be different? Do things need a little bit of time? I think they probably do. And that's something that we're learning more and more as we go forward. So that's really exciting, really, really exciting. Over the weekend, there were some... Today was kind of a back and forward kind of day. We're in the morning, we were right into it. It'd be a Monday morning, at the Monday morning meeting, going through all our accounts to make sure everything's going well and make sure everybody's happy. And then we ended up going out for lunch with my mum, which was great, in Belfast. A beautiful place called Avoca. And what that meant was that it was a little bit difficult to take stuff down for the podcast. But using Google, I was able, over the weekend, over the last few days, I've been putting some topics that I thought might be interesting and useful for people to listen to on the podcast. And the first one is really important. I found this out when I was working for other people. I found out how to advance. Now, I didn't master it, and I don't know if this is the one way to advance or not, and I don't think it is. There's more to it, and I understand that there is more to it now. But one way to accelerate yourself, and maybe this is more a way to get noticed in your business, or get noticed in your industry, or get noticed in your workplace, or the place that you want to advance in. And it's to look where the money is. So whenever you're doing something, if you are working for, if you're working in a bar, I'll go to my experience. If you're working in a bar and you sell more drinks on a night than everybody else, you are going to get noticed, because there's a reason why whenever you hear the tills going and the cha-ching of of money being made. There's a reason why that resonates with people, because people love money and love making money. And if you think about it, any business that's set up, more often than not, they're there to make money. It's not just about money overall. There are other things that can get you noticed. Like if for example, you're in a charitable organization and the thing that matters most to the company is to get new volunteers in, consistently getting new volunteers in is the thing that will get you noticed. So money is important and has been important in the businesses that I've been working in, because it is the thing that people are going for and going after, and it's the thing that the directors are going after, and it's the thing that the CEO is going after. And even in voluntary areas, it makes sense to be building money into the business. So if you can make the company money, if you can make it easier for the company to make money, if you can save money, that is special as well. So whenever I think about how someone can advance, or how I can advance, or how I have advanced, I have done it by thinking about the money. There is a massive pitfall in just thinking about the money, though, and you have to balance this out. And I don't think I did, but I do now. People, so money and people. The obvious one is to go for money, but the thing that I missed is the people along the way. So it's really important to work well as a team with people, have respect for people, look after people, and consider people as you're chasing that money. Because I can nearly guarantee that ladder of getting money, if you upset people on the way up that ladder, whenever you fall and you try to get up the ladder again, those steps on the ladder that you've taken will be ripped out from you, and you won't be able to get up it in the same way. And it'll make everything harder, and everything will be easier if you just be nice to people and be kind to people. So whenever you're thinking about advancing, or you're thinking about increasing your profile in where you work, there are two ways I think that you can do it. And number one is looking for where the money is and working towards that, and balance that out with being nice and kind to people along the way, and considering the people aspect equally with the money aspect. And I think you'd be golden. It really is what I'm trying to do and what we're trying to do for PDG Advertising. And it's important, and it's a sure winner if you are interested in advancing. If you're not, it's kind of okay. If you're just happy, then you're happy with that. But if you get frustrated that you're not going anywhere and you're not doing anything that you wanted to do, then that's maybe a shortcut to increasing your profile, getting more to do, and becoming a bigger part of the business that you're in. Also, I suppose, if you're doing what you do right now and you want to do it for yourself someday, understanding how the money is made is so crucial. You can't run a business without money. You can't do anything really without money. Understanding how to make money is a really, really important part of being a human, I think, because you can't rely on anybody else. In a second, everything can change, and it's an important part of this world. Does it get you happiness? And I don't want to get all sentimental or thoughtful about that, but it definitely makes things easier. It makes things less hard whenever you understand how to make money and where to make money. And look, PDG, we haven't mastered it yet. We're more focused on the customer path, because we believe that will end up making us secure and stable in the future. But that is something that we are definitely considering, and something that you can consider as well. So over the weekend, we were watching Joe Rogan podcast about, it was with Jack Dorsey of Twitter, he's the CEO of Twitter. Really, really intelligent, smart guy. He's been there from the start. I think he left for a while, but then he came back. And he said something that I thought was really, really striking. A couple of things, actually, but this one in particular. It was the difference between Facebook and Twitter. And he put it really, really well. And he was asked, well, why? He was asked about, the content that Facebook were creating in comparison to Twitter. So Twitter's content is quite simple. being a shorter character length and maybe not as rich in terms of content like videos. And you can do videos and pictures and things like that on Twitter, but it's not as malleable and as fun, cartoony as the Facebook ones. You can really craft a great post on Facebook, whereas Twitter, it's slightly more immediate, slightly more direct. And Jack said just immediately, because he understands it, because he created the platform, said, look, well, that's different, because Facebook's about, an environment that is more protected. It's more an environment for who you know and for who you actually interact with, and the amount of people that you connect with is quite small and quite, even though by different degrees you're probably connected to everybody that's on Facebook, immediately access is restricted to a certain amount of people, and your newsfeed is also. Twitter, on the other hand, is about connecting with people that you don't know, people that you don't have anything immediately to do with, and it opens up and expands up your horizons. And this is really important. There's been a few things that have happened over the last couple of weeks that have just confirmed to me that something is going on in Twitter, and that it's getting bigger and that it's getting more important in our world. It was very important in our world in 2012. It then got taken over by bots and noise and fakery and all that stuff. And I think there was a time about a year ago when Twitter cleaned a lot of stuff out. And I think this might be the time that Twitter reemerges as a power. But it also said that different social media channels are for different purposes. So whenever I hear about people putting out the exact same content over every different channel, there are some exceptions. Instagram and Facebook, sometimes it can be good to link them up, and I think that's okay. Instagram and Twitter to link it up, not such a good thing, because the image doesn't come out and it gives you a link and it doesn't look very good. Either way, considering it is important. So considering the medium that you're putting your message out on is a very important part of social media posting. And I suppose social media posting is very important to us. We're wowed by it, we see the power of it, and we want to be able to harness it. And to harness it, you must understand it. So we get that Facebook is about connecting with people you know, but Twitter is about connecting with people and topics that you don't know about and want to know more about. There is crossover here between Facebook and Twitter, but those are fundamentally two differences, a difference between those two platforms. There was another really interesting thing that Jack Dorsey said, and he talked about the filter bubble. If you don't know what the filter bubble is, I want to tell you about it right now. The filter bubble is, or a filter bubble, is similar to what's called an echo chamber. It's where, imagine if you had to make a really important decision. Imagine you had to decide whether or not to leave the country immediately or stay for another 10 days. If you were listening to people, and if you packed out a room full of people that were advising you to leave the country in 10 days, then you would potentially be influenced by that without having a good second opinion from someone who disagrees. And on Facebook and on Twitter, that happens, because whenever you are going through Twitter, you end up following people that you agree with, because there's some sort of connection there. So whenever you follow 100 accounts that you agree with and 0 accounts that you don't agree with, you end up in a filter bubble. You end up similarly in an echo chamber, in my eyes, and someone can correct me, but I believe that they're the same fundamental thing. And that's bad, because if you have 10 people who all agree with each other and all saying the exact same thing, who challenges it? Where does the challenge come to those things? Whenever everybody is agreeing with everybody all the time, that's a bad thing. And it's a phenomena, and it's interesting, and it shouts out to having challenge in businesses, having challenge in your life, having all that, because if you are just surrounded by sycophancy and people who agree with you all the time, then how do you know that you're making the right decision? It says a lot for people who balance their decisions and get opinions from all over the place, even though it might be hard to hear them. and might be uncomfortable, the right thing is likely to have a balanced view. So Jack said, get yourself out of the filter bubble by, instead of following people, follow people who you like, but also follow topics so that you can get a balanced view. And you can do that. You can follow a hashtag on Instagram. I'm pretty sure, he said you couldn't do it on Facebook and Instagram. I'm pretty sure you can on Instagram. And I think you probably can on Facebook as well. But a balanced view is very important. And filter bubbles have been supposedly the cause of some global political shifting times recently, because if everybody's agreeing with each other, it's a real shock whenever something happens that you're completely unaware of, because you're in this filter bubble and you're filtered from seeing the things that you don't like. I guess it's the modern day equivalent of wrapping yourself or someone else in cotton wool. So everyone, I guess that's it for today, for episode 22 of the PDG Advertising Podcast. Look forward to tomorrow's. Just looking over a really nice golden sunset over the Belfast Hills right now. And tomorrow's supposed to be a nice day as well. So I hope you're having a great time, whatever you're doing. And I'll talk to you again soon.